Morning, everyone. This is John Moss from Media Associates International. I'd like to welcome you to our brief orientation webinar today. We've titled How to Get the Most Out of LittWorld. First of all, I just wanted to say how pleased we are that you're planning to come. And we're really looking forward to meeting you personally in Hungary. A lot of expectation and excitement is building, I think, in these last 18 days before the conference. So just very briefly today, I'm thinking we'll be together maybe 30 to 40 minutes. I'd like to walk us through a few things that may be helpful as you kind of sort through your last preparations to travel to Hungary, and also then once you are at the conference, how to get the most out of it. I'm sorry, I think we've had a few issues with the links to this webinar today for whatever reason. I'd like to welcome those of you who managed to join us. We apologize for whatever may have happened with some of our friends having trouble with the link. But we are recording this brief webinar, and we'll make the recording available later for all those who may not have been able to participate live. So I'm going to try to share my screen now and have a simple PowerPoint here that I'm going to use to walk us through this. Okay, so LittWorld 2022 in Hungary. This is our first LittWorld in continental Europe. Somebody was asking me the other day, how many LittWorld conferences have been held? And actually, this is the 16th. The first LittWorld was held in 1986 in the Chicago area, and the conference was held several times there. And then we moved the conference to England in the 90s. We followed by 2 LittWorlds in the Philippines, 1 in Brazil, 2 in Kenya, 2 in Singapore, and now here we are getting ready for LittWorld 2022 in Hungary. Now, it's been kind of a challenge, I think, for all of us to get ready to travel, partly because of some of the COVID issues and question marks that we've had. All of us probably, as requirements have changed. In different countries, they're different. But I would just encourage you to online stay current on COVID-related travel requirements. You may not know that as of March 7th, Hungary no longer has any COVID-related travel restrictions. So this just happened less than 4 weeks ago. So when we saw that, we said, wow, that means at least for us here, we don't need to have a PCR test, negative PCR test within 72 hours of travel to Hungary. So that's a big plus. But again, things can change. So just stay current on COVID-related travel requirements for Hungary. Things are looking much smoother now, but things can change, and we'll try to we will keep up ourselves and keep you informed. Also, if you haven't checked your passport expiration date recently, and we've asked you to do this, but just in case, if you haven't done it yet, make sure that your passport is valid for at least 6 months after your entry to Hungary. That will be important for your admittance to the country. And then finally, will you need to get a negative COVID test before you return home to your home country when LittWorld concludes? I think a lot of us will need to do that. It's helpful to know that at the airport in Budapest, they do have rapid COVID testing that within 20 minutes you can get the results of your test. So that may mean you'll want to head to the airport a few minutes earlier to get that test. And there's also some availability out near the conference center itself for COVID testing. And rapid tests are costing between $30, $40 to $50, depending on where you get it. So if you need one, be sure to save enough money that you can get your COVID test before you return home. So just a few extra loops to jump through. I hope those don't become a distraction for us. I'm sure we'll get through it okay. Now, for those of you who are taking the airport transportation out to the conference hotel in the city of Suffolk, we will have a mobile LittWorld stand in Terminal 2A. I don't know if you can see my cursor here. Here's Terminal 2A, over here is Terminal 2B. Some of you will land in Terminal 2B. You'll disembark over in 2B, some in 2A. But whichever one you exit the plane from, 2A or 2B, you'll want to make your way to 2A, where you'll see a mobile stand with a LittWorld banner, and it will be staffed by a couple of volunteers, conference volunteers. And they will direct you to where the airport transportation is located at for your ride out to the conference center. You may need to wait a little bit, depending on the group that you're traveling with, so that everybody can be grouped up. You know, we don't want anybody to wait a very long time, but you may have to have a little bit of patience until your particular bus group is formed for the ride out to Schiafolk. It'll take about 90 minutes to get there on the airport transportation. So we want to make this as smooth as possible for you to get from the airport out to the conference hotel. A lot of this information that I'm sharing now, it will be on the travel FAQs that we linked to in our invitation to this webinar yesterday, and we'll continue to make that available to you as we get closer to the conference. Just in terms of orientation, some people have asked, well, where is Schiafolk in relation to Budapest? So here's Budapest, right in north central Hungary, and Schiafolk is down here on Lake Balaton. It's about 80 miles from the airport. A beautiful spot located on the shores of Lake Balaton, the largest lake in Central Europe. Some have asked, well, where's Ukraine in relation to Hungary? You can see Hungary shares a tiny strip of border with Ukraine up in the northeastern section of the country. We did look at a number of possible conference venues in Budapest itself, but we opted for the Hotel Azur in Schiafolk just because just of the facilities are just, we feel are really perfect for LittWorld. As I said, it's located on Lake Balaton, about 80 miles from the airport. It has a lot of area outside to walk, to stroll, where you can just visit. We encourage you to carry on your conversations, your friendship making and building in some of these more relaxed settings, inside and outside the hotel. And if you have a bathing suit, you might want to bring it, because there is a really nice swimming pool and a couple of spas in the hotel. We don't want you hanging out at the pool when workshops are in session, but in the free time that we have, it's a really nice hotel in this regard to take advantage of some of the recreational facilities there. Some have asked, well, how many people have registered so far for LittWorld? Currently, we have 160 plus from at least 35 countries. One of the cool things about LittWorld is just the diversity. So many countries and nations represented there. We'll have our first, I think our first ever LittWorld participant from Madagascar this time, for instance. All the world regions will be represented there. This is a photo actually from the last LittWorld in Singapore. So I think you'll enjoy getting to meet these wonderful men and women who are serving alongside you in Christian writing and publishing elsewhere in the world, just sharing some of your common opportunities, common challenges. Often people will come away from LittWorld and they'll say, wow, I thought I was the only one who had that problem, and other people had the same problem. It's so encouraging. So I think you'll find that while we have our differences, we have a lot more in common as colleagues working in Christian publishing and writing around the world. What makes LittWorld unique? I think probably for me, one of the most unique factors about LittWorld, and I've been, I think, I've been to all of them except the very first one since my first one was 1988, maybe before some of you were born, I don't know. But what makes it unique is it's so participatory. What do I mean by that? We have more than 160 participants at LittWorld, and at least 40 to 50 are involved in the program as speakers, workshop leaders, devotional leaders, one-on-one mentors. It's very participatory. And most of the speakers, practically all of them, this time will be around for the entire week. So unlike some conferences where a high-profile speaker comes in, speaks, and leaves, LittWorld is fortunate in the sense and effective in the sense that most of our speakers and resource leaders are there with you at mealtime, at coffee break time. Yeah, they're available to just get to know you, to field your questions. It's a huge plus for LittWorld. Another element is that while LittWorld is a training conference, it is also equal parts encouragement. We want you, if you're coming to LittWorld feeling a little bit down, maybe tired, 2 years of publishing and writing during a pandemic, I think has taken a toll on all of us, just to be able to encourage one another, in addition to being able to equip one another, is so important. And then finally, we found over the years at LittWorld that participants form lasting friendships, and the networking that takes place as well. Often people who attend a LittWorld will refer to themselves as now becoming part of the LittWorld family. We hope that is how you feel after you've spent time with us in Hungary, that you feel yourself connected to something larger than your own work or your own country, that you're part of a global family of men and women who are serving Christ in Christian writing and publishing. I'd like to introduce you to the local chair of LittWorld 2022, Cornel Herjacki, here on your left. He is the CEO of Harmat Publishers in Budapest. Harmat has been actively publishing for 30 plus years, and Cornel is doing a lot of the local logistics for us. And he's seated here alongside Emoke Tapolya, who will be our opening night speaker for LittWorld on the Sunday night after you arrive. She'll be talking about how to maintain hope and give it to others in a dark world. I think it's it's going to be a really appropriate topic for us, given all that's happening today. The two elements of our conference theme will weave their way into particularly the devotional times each morning and also our plenaries. And those two elements, as you see here in the logo, which was created by Hungarian designer István Lente, shout out to him. The two elements are stronger together. We're going to explore how that we can become stronger together in our shared ministry of Christian writing and publishing. And then also, the second element is publishing hope beyond crisis. How can, through our words, provide hope to the readers that we serve? How can we more effectively do that in compelling, clear, and creative ways to provide hope to our readers? If we can all come away from LittWorld with even one or two ideas or action plans on how to do that, it will have been all worthwhile. So keep that in mind as we go through the week in Hungary. We're going to be focusing quite a bit on how we can be stronger together and how we can publish hope beyond crisis. Each morning we'll start before breakfast. That's when we really identify who the morning people are at LittWorld. But I encourage you to get out of bed and come out to the morning devotionals at 7:30 each day, prior to breakfast for 30 minutes to worship and song. We'll have about 10 minutes of worship. Our worship leader, by the way, is Daniela Benevelli from Italy. And then followed by a 10-minute devotional, we'll have someone from a different part of the world each day sharing that 10-minute devotional. And then followed by a 10-minute time of prayer. Some days it will be in pairs, some days all together, sometimes in small groups. And Kingston Ogango from Nairobi, Kenya, will be emceeing those morning devotional times we call Focus in the Word. Then each day we'll have plenary sessions in which, and there's a main speaker, and the focus of the plenaries is building vision, looking at trends, things that we should be aware of coming down the road in publishing and in our world that we are serving. So looking out, looking ahead, becoming better aware mentally and spiritually for the challenges that face us. And we're pleased, as you know, I believe you know, that our keynote speaker in the plenary on Monday morning is Philip Yancey. This is the second time we'll have had Philip at LittWorld. The previous time was in the Philippines, maybe 20 years ago. He's not just an outstanding author, but he's an outstanding speaker. He's very attuned globally. He travels a lot globally. So pray for him as he prepares to speak to us. And Philip, he'll be joined by his wife as well at the conference. So I think you'll enjoy getting to know them during the times that we have available to visit. So alongside the plenaries, which are vision building, we'll have 6 simultaneously running how-to workshops at different intervals in the schedule. I encourage you, by the way, to check out the MAI website, littworld.org, where we'll be updating the schedule of the conference. And these workshops, the how-to workshops, fall into six general topic areas, which are publishing leadership, marketing, editorial, digital publishing, fiction, and nonfiction writing. Sorry, my phone is making noise here. Don't know how to turn that off. Publishing leadership, marketing, editorial, digital publishing, fiction, and nonfiction writing. We'll have coffee breaks both in the morning and the afternoon each day. Not only will we enjoy some tasty treats, but these again are another valuable opportunity to get to know one another, to continue your conversations, to do some of this networking and partnering that we've been talking about. Purposely, the coffee breaks are about 45 minutes long, longer than maybe some would say, oh, you need a 45-minute coffee break. Well, the reason is because that is a really helpful time to get to know one another and to build friendships and relationships. And during the time that we're having coffee break, actually right in the same vicinity of the conference hotel, is the book display room. Now you've seen our emails in which we're asking if you'd like to reserve a shared table space to display a few of your publications or a few of your titles. That space is filling up really fast. There may still be time, if you haven't let us know yet that you'd like to reserve a shared table space. Let us know immediately if that's you. Now in this book display room, which will be open during meal times, break times, and other free moments, you'll be able to buy titles. Some of the people displaying will be selling titles. Just to see what others are doing, it's a good opportunity to compare notes, what each of us are doing in our publishing around the world. So the book display room is always a big highlight, I think. Now there'll be something a little bit different in the book display area. Our Latin American delegates have come forward with an excellent idea, and that is running what they're calling a bazaar with a cause, in which you are encouraged to bring a small item from your country. It could be a treat, coffee, a craft item, a small item that you would consider typical of your country, that you would donate to the Bazaar with a Cause and price it at what you think it would be worth to purchase. And then participants will be able to buy these items, and all the proceeds from the sales of these items will be given to a Christian organization in Hungary that is helping with Ukrainian refugee relief. So it's just kind of a neat way to maybe get a souvenir from a country represented at LittWorld, but more importantly, to do something hands-on to provide some tangible assistance to the Ukrainian refugees in Hungary, which, as you know, are thousands. Not as many as in Poland, for instance, but there is a very large and incoming population of Ukrainian refugees in Hungary. So it's a way that we can help with them. You've also been alerted to the fact that you can sign up for one-on-one consultations with experienced mentors during the conference. These are being offered at on three different afternoons of LittWorld, 30-minute consultations by sign up. So, maybe you're feeling, it's a little bit intimidating perhaps to ask a question in front of a large group. So the one-on-ones give you a chance in a more private setting to ask your question to an experienced mentor and go deeper in your question in that 30-minute time period. If you sign up for this, it's entirely driven by your questions. I don't expect the mentor to teach. The mentor will become equipped, will come ready to answer your questions, whatever those might be in your publishing or writing industry. Some of you have already signed up for these, but we will also have sign-up sheets at the conference itself where you can sign up if you haven't done that yet. At LittWorld, we always try to have some type of a half-day outing, which allows us to get to know a bit of the country that's hosting us, and also to share in a different setting as a group. And so on the Wednesday afternoon, by which time maybe some of us will be tired of sitting through the different sessions, we will take buses into Budapest from the hotel, and we'll have the opportunity to do several things. Of course, Budapest, we could spend days there. We'll only have a few hours actually, but during that time, highlights of this outing will be going to the Great Market Hall. It's a huge historic indoor market in Budapest where we'll get out and we'll explore around. There are some souvenirs, foods and other items typical of Hungary that you can take advantage of if you'd like. And there's snacks available there too, again, if you like that. And in addition, we'll go to what's called the Castle District, which is roughly 160-meter high hill overlooking the Danube River, which you see here in this photo, where is the Buda Castle, the Matthias Church, the 500-year-old historic church. It's just a beautiful spot to walk around and look over the city of Budapest. And we're just thankful for our hosts, our local hosts, for helping to organize this outing, which I think will be a real highlight for all of us. Then we'll return that Wednesday, have dinner at the hotel, and we'll enjoy, we're reprising again the LittWorld's Got Talent program that evening. So this is a chance for you to show off your creative skills. Maybe you'd want to sing a song, do a reading. At the last LittWorld, we were surprised we even had a few stand-up comedians, but it's an opportunity again to share something personal to you of your creativity as a Christian and a Christian communicator. These are presentations that can last no longer than 5 minutes, and we'll only have space for maybe a dozen to 15 people because of time to share in that way. So once we're at LittWorld, you'll have the opportunity to share in LittWorld's Got Talent. So I wanted to mention that to you now, so you could be thinking about that if there's something that you would like to do at the conference yourself. This, by the way, in this photo is Jose Carlos Gutierrez from Mexico with the Latin American group who shared a special song at the last LittWorld. And Jose Carlos, maybe he'll be back again to do it again because he will be at LittWorld. I think you'll find that some of the most lasting outcomes of LittWorld for you will grow from your informal conversations during meals, breaks, and other times of sharing. Please try to get out of your comfort zone at those opportunities, at meals and breaks. Don't always, if you're traveling with somebody from your own country or from your publishing house, don't always feel like you need to sit with the people you already know. Try to get out of your comfort zone and meet some new friends from other parts of the world. This is maybe your only opportunity to ever do that, to meet somebody from Egypt or from Lebanon or from Mongolia. So take advantage of these times, because I think you'll find that what you may most remember about LittWorld 2022 are those nuggets of wisdom, those ideas, those encouragements that you receive in informal conversations at the conference. Now, we really want you to come away from LittWorld with fresh energy, fresh vision to continue forward in your work. Here's a quote from Sylvia Jauhari from Indonesia, a children's author, who said after the previous LittWorld, "LittWorld was like a pit stop. We came to be recharged, renewed, recovered in spirit and knowledge. Then we return to the race of life again." So when you come to LittWorld, if you are feeling like you need a recharge, physically, mentally, spiritually, we pray that you will get that at LittWorld so that you will return to the race better equipped with increased commitment to more effectively serve your readers in the country where you're serving. So how do we get the most out of LittWorld? These are such common sense tips, but perhaps they'll serve as a helpful reminder. Before you go to Hungary, I'd encourage you to make a list of what are the 3 to 5 things you most want to learn or gain at the conference. Have those clearly in mind before you go. Then once you're at the conference, you can proactively pursue those 3 to 5 things. Because believe me, the conference is going to go really fast. You say, oh no, we're going to be there for 5 days. It's going to go really fast. And it's so easy to get kind of sidetracked from the things you most want to get out of the conference if you're not careful. So keep that little list in front of you. These are the things I want to come away from LittWorld with. And so if it's Tuesday or Wednesday and you're looking at your list, whoa, I still haven't followed up on those 3 to 5 things, then you can just double down and do that and work on those before you go home. What are the 3 to 5 things you most want to learn or gain or come away with from LittWorld? Second, we'll be making use of the Whova Conference app. You'll receive an email with more instructions about that. But if you haven't used the Whova app before, I think you'll really enjoy it. It's an app that will allow you to message the other participants, to share photos with other participants, to see the conference schedule, who are the speakers. It's like the go-to hub for all information related to LittWorld 2022. It's very easy to use. We're encouraging everybody who goes to LittWorld to download or upload this app to your mobile phone or your laptop, so you can truly stay connected with one another and with what's going on at the conference. So we're really pleased to be able to offer you the use of the Whova Conference app. It's free to put onto your phone or your laptop. So you might even want to do that now, to put that on your phone or your laptop, but we'll be giving more instructions about it. The third idea is I would recommend keeping a daily journal of ideas and impressions. If you're like me, one tends to forget, or I tend to forget an idea that may come to mind, and then if I haven't written it down, it goes away. We don't want to lose those valuable ideas. And I'm sure as you're listening to a Philip Yancey or any of our main speakers and in the workshops, you'll think, oh, that's a great idea. I need to follow up on that. Write it down. And then continuing on here, you would add that idea or that impression that you received to your to-do after LittWorld list. Maybe put that on the desktop of your computer or your laptop, your to-do after LittWorld list. These are the things that you were going to do to follow up on the ideas and impressions that you received at LittWorld. I really encourage you to do that. Each morning before you head out of your room to go down to the Focus in the Word devotional time, pray for God's leading in your daily encounters. You know, it's kind of a cliche term, divine encounters, but there's truth to that term, that God would lead you to the people that he wants you to see that day. I don't think any of your conversations will be random in that regard at LittWorld. Pray for God's leading in terms of who you spend time with, in terms of who you visit with, not only in what you receive from others, but what you will give back to others. What word of counsel or encouragement might you have for the person that you will meet that day, and vice versa? And then lastly, when you get back home, we really encourage you to share what you learned. In this way, we can multiply the training that happens at LittWorld. We will be doing video recording of all the plenary sessions. You'll receive links to all those plenary sessions. So for instance, in your publishing house, you could just schedule an opportunity for staff to sit with you and view one of the plenaries that you feel was particularly useful to you or to your publishing. You might want to share the conference notes that you have, the outlines, the teaching outlines that you received. Please be good stewards of this information that you received by sharing it with others back home when you from what you learned at LittWorld. So just some ideas. The list of the 3 to 5 things you most want to gain or learn from the conference. Make full use of the conference app for networking. Keep a daily journal of ideas and impressions, a to-do list for after LittWorld. Pray for God's leading in all your encounters at the conference, and then be prepared to share back home what you learned at LittWorld. We do have available a 30 days of prayer for LittWorld, a little prayer guide that I believe we've shared with you, but we can share that again if you are interested. But be praying with us. We believe that this is a truly unique time and place for LittWorld 2022. You know, it's been a kind of a wild ride organizing this particular LittWorld, in a pandemic, and now the war in Ukraine. But we've gone forward, we've pushed forward, because we've seen time and again that God is guiding this. He wants this conference to happen, and there is definitely a purpose for it in his plan. And so we, like you, are eagerly expectant of what he will do among us. So pray that God will use this LittWorld in a powerful way. First of all, to bless our host country, Hungary, the whole of Europe, and each nation represented at the conference. Let's be praying even now, before we go, that God will give us eyes to see and ears to hear what he is saying to us as global Christian communicators at this unique time in history. Pray for lasting friendships, publishing partnerships. What can we do together as writers and publishers? This is a job that's too big for any one publisher, any one person. What can we do together? I'm really looking forward to see any ideas that grow out of LittWorld in that regard. Pray that anybody who arrives feeling burnout or exhausted or even tempted to give up will be inspired to persevere. And then what really motivates us to continue with LittWorld is the outcomes that we have seen every time. And pray that God will do this again, that LittWorld will lead to new publications or even new publishing ministries that nurture the global church and influence society of Christ. And pray that we will be strengthened in our shared ministry of publishing, that we will gain fresh tools and vision to publish hope for our readers. So that's all I have to share today. I hope this has been helpful. And we're available anytime leading up to the conference. If you have emails, please, with questions, please contact us, reach out with any questions, and we'll try to answer you the best that we can. I'm sure you're busy making these last minute preparations, but again, we're just so thrilled that you're going to join us at LittWorld. I look forward to meeting you personally after 2 years of virtual meetings and webinars like this one. I think I am, and I hope you are too, looking forward to in-person contact and just sharing together around a table in a meeting room with one another. So thank you again. God bless. We will make available the recording of this webinar for those who were unable to see it, or if you'd like to watch it again. So thanks so much. God bless. We'll see you later.